And for me, VHS is a multitude of things. It is, obviously tapping into nostalgia and having watched so many movies on VHS, the sound that the VCR makes when it's playing, the look of the image on a standard definition CRT TV. Granted it's converted an aspect ratio from its original aspect ratio to fit a 4:3 aspect ratio, but the actual image on a standard def screen looks great. And the other thing too is, dude, some of those VHS, the box art on them and the graphics that they use, like this Manhunter VHS that I picked up, yeah. I'm just like, I have probably a dozen VHS tapes that I am going to set aside, and I'm going to stare at them to figure out how to integrate these box designs and the font choices and the color choices into my work.
Yeah.
I don't know how it will manifest. I don't know where it'll show up, but I look at it and
it's
I go,
interesting there,
that
like
is
you're
beautiful.
building a design reservoir.
Yes, absolutely.
A reference library.
Yes.
That's completely unique to you.
Yep.
I can't get that by searching VHS covers on. I mean,
Yeah.
I can get a bit of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be able to get something as complete or as, yeah.
Especially those
very cool
early 80s, mid 80s VHS where the company that made the sleeve designed it, took a still from the film, picked the font. Like they didn't just take the movie poster and slap it on the box. It's a work of art, in my opinion. And it's so inspiring to me to see that as someone who really likes graphic arts and graphic artists, but isn't one, but wants to touch it, wants to toe into
interact with it a little
and
bit,
learn like, okay, well, they did a drop shadow. Oh, I see. Like reverse engineer, like what the thinking was, how it worked, and get closer to that art form as well, even if it's not something that I exclusively want to do.
For sure. But
I want to improve that craft. And if I really had my way, I would be like, how do I get the machinery that they use to make this stuff to like make it the old way, not just open up Affinity Designer and
what I'm saying.
Slap it together.
That's kind of where, one, I would almost make an argument that yes, it's incredibly inefficient to do, especially graphic design, to do it in that manner.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this though. Like up until 1990, maybe, maybe a little bit earlier. But I mean, all of the design in the world was done completely analog.
Yeah.
So, yes, while it's highly inefficient, and yes, nobody is trained to do it like that, it's a massive differentiator. Yeah. And most people aren't going to be interested in it. Like, you're going to have to turn down a lot of work because it's just going to be like, but if you find, if you're running a business and you find, $1 million worth of clients that are interested in it, you're the only one that can serve them, or, one of the very select that can.
Yeah.
So there are arguments to be made for, okay, let's try it this way. Let's do it completely different. I think it's funny. You look around, it's like every business is completely dependent on computers, which I get it. They're amazing.
Yeah.
For that, they're perfect. But
they can be,
they can be distracting.
They can like the tools can be so abundant and so efficient in a sense that you just overload yourself with digital clutter.
And what was the article you sent me where everybody's pulling from the same resources?
Yeah. God, what was that article? I'll have to see.
Essentially, the thesis was that everybody's pulling from the same reservoir of ideas, so everything looks the same.
The same design language, basically.
Everybody just, when you want to design something new, you Google
coffee shop and you look at it, or
you look at 100.
How do I decorate my room for my Airbnb? And it's like, oh, white sheets and this thing. Like you just.
And so this is a way to almost work around that, where if you're not using a computer, you're not going to be influenced by that's feeding you. If you're not using the internet for your design.
Well, and to me, if you're looking at objects from the past as well, and this is hauntology, right? We're tapping into the past to never sort of like, because we can't see a clear vision of a future. Like, what's a design that would look like it literally came from the future versus me looking at VHS covers or old typewriters and designing things based on what I like about these objects of the past. Well,
it's interesting. Like you used to sit down for, maybe this isn't exactly true, but there was space to sit down and just think about what the future looked like for 10 days. And at least that's coming from your own, your own pathways of thought. It's coming from your own brain. Now there's not a lot of sitting down and just thinking about the future. No. Eventually you're going to break and you're going to search on the computer, like visions of the future, and you're going to create some, molded together version of all of these.
Yeah, a little Ralph McQuarrie, a little H.R. Geiger, a little Braun, industrial design, some Herman Miller, and now we've got,
throw it out.
Yeah.
And so, it's just, who's to say what the, I think it's an interesting way to, I'm trying to because I don't want to, I don't want to be like, hey, that's clearly the wrong way to do it. I don't think it is. I think there's a reason that most people have adopted the newer way.
Yeah.
Just like I think there's a reason most people have adopted digital cameras.
Right.
Film prices got expensive, and all of a sudden, all the people that shot digital looked a lot smarter. Like, I get it. There's trade-offs for everything, but I just want to, I stress that it's not the only way, and that some of the problems we run into, I think, could be solved by applying a different way of thinking.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.